So hello guys and welcome back to another video in our channel. Welcome to this live stream, and today we have something to smile about. Anybody who's joining us can look to actually share a hello and whether you're able to get me perfectly. So it's been quite an interesting game. Getting back, yeah, thank you. Wow, finally a win. It's been 3 wins, and I said this before the game. I said this, that it's super important to actually get that win. It's super important because in the Premier League, the minute you stop winning a game, you have to make sure that you are back as quickly as possible. You have to make sure that you're back, to winning ways, because sometimes it goes one loss, second loss, third loss. I think Melon has said that he's been really streaming for hours, and that is the type of game you want. And what I can say about this game is that I've seen very many aspects of this game. From the way the selection was on point, the team, the attack, the substitutions, the way the game was managed. I was even shocked that sometime in the game, Chelsea were not looking to be much more explosive. They were looking to get the ball, retain it, keep it. Because I've said it, getting this win and doing it in that way that you're able to keep a clean sheet is super crucial for the Premier League. Getting that win, keeping that clean sheet. And what does this game actually tell us? This game tells us that Maresca might have actually now found the team that he can trust. Now, before I even proceed to other things, I need to talk about this is the final game in Moises Caicedo's suspension, and we've really missed Caicedo in this team. The Leeds game, we were unable to control the midfield. The Bournemouth game, we lacked the attacking output because we had to put more players in midfield and more defensive players because we lacked Moises Caicedo. Notice this, Chelsea's win percentage without Caicedo has been 25%, meaning that out of 4 games, Chelsea win 1 when Caicedo is not there. So when Caicedo comes into the team, the winning probability comes back into the team. So what I'm saying is that Chelsea are going to get stronger with the return of Moises Caicedo. The only thing that I don't want with the management was keeping Neto on rather than giving Gui 30 minutes. I think probably that is something that you can actually say. Neto's runs, Neto does all the job. And even when the substitution came, I was like, if you're taking out João Pedro, then it's better you retain Pedro Neto rather than looking to take on Neto and then substituting him with Estevao. So let's look at even the lineup selection. Sanchez on point. The back four was on point. The midfield, Reece James together with Fernandes on point. The attacking players, that is Garnacho and Neto. I think Neto did quite a lot compared to Alejandro Garnacho. I think Garnacho was unable to beat his man. I think Garnacho was, yes, he was direct, but he was unable to contribute with his directness. Garnacho had 2 opportunities where he would have scored goals for Chelsea, but he was unable to actually take out the steam of the game. So the game started quite well. I think Everton also came into this game with the same expectation that they wanted. The same thing that Bournemouth did, the same thing that Leeds did, that is coming at Chelsea and looking to stick it out right in front of Chelsea's face. But what I can say is that the way Chelsea were able to manage that game was super great, because they were able to come out strong. They were able to establish themselves. They were able to create all manner of issues for the opponent, and Chelsea were able to calm that game down. Because I say what I kept on saying is that in the Premier League, teams know how to smell blood. Teams can smell blood. And immediately you lose a game, that is the most dangerous time. You have to win the next game fast and possible. Because if you fail to win the next game, you lose the other game, then you lose another game, then you lose another game, then it becomes super difficult. Now, it's very good from Chelsea. Enzo was not good, but a couple of good passes, and Garnacho was embarrassing. Strong defense. Yeah. Another thing I need to talk about is before the Cole Palmer goal, I saw Enzo Fernandes receiving the ball, and Chelsea had this opportunity to counter, and Fernandes just wasted that opportunity. So I think there's also an element of fatigue with Enzo Fernandes in the team. I think that If probably the next game he can get a bench and then you can have Rhys James and Caicedo in that midfield, I think that overall improves Chelsea, because having Rhys James and Caicedo in that midfield even makes Chelsea super strong. Chelsea back to top four. Yeah. Chelsea to top four and in a very, very promising position. Maresca might have just stumbled onto a system of play where you don't have Caicedo available. Chelsea looked solid for 80 minutes, looked dodgy in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, the last 10 minutes, I think it's the element of fatigue. But what I can say is that because we lacked Moises Caicedo in this game, we really struggled. And that is one thing that I believe everyone have not, a lot of fans did not get it. Caicedo is Chelsea's best player. I repeat this again. Moises Caicedo is Chelsea's best player. And Caicedo does the work for everyone. Caicedo can play in that midfield by himself. His reading of the game, the way he tackles, the way he intercepts, the way he progresses the ball, the way he sits in front of that defense. Some goals that we have considered, we would have not considered if Caicedo was on the pitch, because Caicedo knows how to scan. Now, the return of Caicedo strengthens this team. It strengthens this team. And I think that is probably why Maresca decided to start Rhys James in this game. Palmer on the right was good to see. Yeah, I've always said this. And even in the first half, you kept on seeing whenever though Neto's crosses weren't great today, but you would always see that whenever the ball was on the right, Enzo was constantly drifting. Into that back post area, ready to get that ball crossed so that he can try to head the ball in the far post. That is something that Neto kept on trying to do. And the more he kept on trying to do that, the more it actually gave Chelsea that different dynamism when it came to the attack. And that is something that you really have to factor in. So the way that Maresca set this team up today made it strong. You made it strong. The attack looked much more dangerous, having Cole Palmer down the right, having Enzo playing down the left, having Garnacho, having Neto. Though I do think that Gittens, when he came on, he did much more than what Garnacho did the entire game. I think Gittens dribbled quite well. He created even a chance. And João Pedro, again, I'm not so impressed with him, because what I can say about João Pedro is that sometimes I think his decision making isn't good enough, because you get the ball, you try to hold on to the ball. Instead, if you win the ball and you are unsure whether to progress the ball, it is better to make a safe pass backwards than waiting the ball to be nicked over you. And that is something that João Pedro needs to learn. I think Jackson did this job excellently for Chelsea. And I think it's high time that we really acknowledge the contribution that Nicholas Jackson gave. Because I think if we have Jackson this season, I think probably we'd be much more stronger, because I think Jackson knew what to do. Jackson understands what you do in that kind of position. Just before I introduce Mehdi, I also wanted to touch on the substitutions. I think Cole Palmer was enough. 57 minutes, an hour was enough for Cole Palmer, because Cole Palmer has been out for 2 months, and Maresca is also trying to manage that injury. So it is good to see him out, and probably now he will be back to play maybe 70 minutes against Newcastle. And he got that goal. And the minute Cole Palmer got that goal, you saw the kind of energy he started to dispense. You saw the way he was getting to the ball, the way he wanted the ball, the way he was hungry to actually score and create more chances for his teammates. Then I proceed to try and talk about the backline. Now, this is the 6th clean sheet that Chelsea are keeping. The 6th clean sheet. This is the 6th clean sheet this season. The 6th clean sheet that they are keeping with Chalobah and Fofana. And now, you realize that when Chalobah and Fofana play together, they understand each other. Look at that last block that Chalobah kept. That showed that these are centre-back partnership that are willing to maintain the clean sheet record. Look at the blocks that Fofana made the other time when the ball was being cut back. Look at the aerial ability of Fofana, the way he kept on winning those duels, the way he kept on moving and covering even for Gusto. This is why I'm telling you that this centre-back partnership is so agile. It is so agile. The partnership understands each other. And then now you're finding yourself in a situation where both of your center backs understand each other. And once both of them understand each other, that is when you see you get the best out of them. They're able to keep the clean sheet. They're able to maintain possession. They're able to stop conceding silly chances. But I think when you have that centre back partnership and then you bring in Caicedo, I think the defense further solidifies. And one thing I also need to add about that defense is that what you notice is that you build fast from the back. You build from the back. See, the thing with Chelsea when you look at the goal difference is that Chelsea have conceded 3+ goals, I think, in 2 games. Then they have conceded 2+ goals in the games they have lost. They have not lost with 1-0. But those games have come when Chelsea have made changes in that backline. But when you maintain that partnership of Fofana, of Chaloba, both of them are fast, both of them are running, both of them are able to cover each other, both of them understand. Even Robert Sanchez, he's coming in and is bringing that calmness. We are no longer talking about the goalkeeper. And then I have to talk about Rhys James. Rhys James has been phenomenal, stepping up to that Caicedo role and doing what Caicedo does throughout the game. I think Rhys James, and I saw even Thomas Tuchel watching the game, Rhys James, because of his injury situation, when he plays at fullback, I think long term, Rhys James might just transition from a right back to a fullback. Something that we have seen with Joshua Kimmich. Estevao needs to understand that you don't always try to dribble 3 players every time. Sometimes quick passing is, but yeah, that is something that I saw. He actually lost the ball and put Chelsea in that deadly situation. Yeah, Estevao is a young player. He's a teenager. He's actually 18 years old. So he's a very young player. And I think the manager is trying to embed him slowly. And I think he's going to understand the game later. No yellow cards for Chelsea today. Happy to see. No, Fofana got a yellow card. Fofana made a tactical foul. So overall, 3 points, 2-0, clean sheet, much well controlled game, balanced game. I think overall that is a good result. So I would like to introduce Mehdi to probably touch on something that I have not talked about. Again, like this video. If you're watching us, kindly like this video. Like a lot, comment a lot, and we are here ready to answer your question. So Mehdi, how are you, and what's your overall opinion on the game?
I'm okay. Yeah, I think we did well. I think, yeah, it was surprising to see Gusto play so well. Yeah, I mean, there were moments in that game where you just watch Gusto hit that switch on his left foot, which was very, very surprising, you know. So if this is the fullback that's gonna continue playing in midfield, then we can't really complain. But like if if like we go back to default settings, then it could be a problem. I think it's matches like this where Chelsea fans need to give more attention because I feel like when we're on a bad streak, we give a lot of attention to the negativity. But when we win, we're just like, oh, that's the level. But the level is important, you know, and you have to give players credit when they maintain it, just like as you give them the negativity when they don't. And because this isn't an easy level to maintain, and these small wins, as we've seen, are what build title-winning teams, you know. So today, yeah, 2-0, I feel like it could have even been more sometimes, you know. João Pedro, I think he did very well. Just, I think his attitude really holds him back sometimes. The reluctance to press, the whining, the complaining. I feel like that's going to hold him back. Neto, I think he did really well, especially for the second goal. Got a great assist. Garnacho, I'm not the biggest Garnacho fan, but you can't help but feel like he just got unlucky today. Sometimes you have those days as a player where like it's just not your day because he got in positions, he tried, but in my opinion, I've always said that I think Gittins is better, and I do think today Gittins tried a lot more. And finally, it does sound like Maresca listened to the feedback and played Enzo on his left space, played Palmer on that right space, and it was just a joy because there was no real point. Okay, yeah, they hit the post and that Grealish header maybe, but like, and that Tilo Berry when he missed that cross, which I will say Fofana, he does hit some balls away, but there are times whereby you can catch him off with some of these crosses, so he has to be careful with that. But overall, look, I can't complain, man. It's been a great game, and I think everyone in that team deserves praise today, apart from maybe Garnacho. Estevao, he didn't get enough minutes for me. But against Cardiff, I think I would like to see Gyu get some minutes. I like to see Hato get some minutes. I like to see Estevao get some minutes. Caicedo maybe, but good job, well done, and I think we're buzzing today.
Yeah. Though I will not also recommend a heavy rotation against Cardiff. We are in the quarterfinals. Yeah, and in my opinion, I do think that if Chelsea get to the Carabao Cup final and actually win it in February and they're in touching position, I think that can really do a lot to a team. I remember the way Pep Guardiola used to use the Carabao Cup as a stimulant to Manchester City and telling them, "Do you feel the way you've lifted that trophy? Now fight and lift the Premier League." You see. So I do like winning that mid-season trophy. I know a lot of people might call it the Mickey Mouse Cup, but in my opinion, I want that Carabao Cup. I want him to go semi-strong. Yes, I expect him to rest Kukurea. I'd even have no problem if Caicedo started that game. No, or he just plays. He plays. I want to see Josh playing that game. I want to see Josh. In fact, I'd be happy to see Josh and Benoit in that game. I think it's better than having Tosin in that game. So somebody is asking, what is my man of the match? First of all, I will give Mehdi the opportunity to give us his man of the match.
It's hard to look past Gusto. I think he was pretty good today. One goal, one assist, very solid defensively. So yeah, it's hard to look past Gusto. So I'd give it to him. Played really well today
Yeah,
and almost looked like a
yeah,
natural midfielder.
yeah, and yeah, I do agree with you. I will also go for Malogusto as the man of the match. Also, another thing I want to say about Malogusto is that I do think that Maresca has a really improved Malogusto. Malogusto nowadays understands that inverted midfield position quite well. I think some time back he wasn't quite great at it. He kept on losing the ball, and whenever the ball will be passed to him, he never knew what to do. But now you can see Gusto is super confident in that position, and I was even shocked to see that line breaking pass that was made to Cole Palmer was done by Gusto. Gusto has been that player who I have heavily been disappointed with when he had that ball being played. So those are some of the things. But I am happy that uh, that situation has actually been improved. So I would like to ask any of you who has something to say. I will share the link so that you can probably join the stream and say something, because it's super important for us to actually look at it now. um I want to talk about Rhys James. Are we now going to see Rhys James transition? Are we seeing the making of another Joshua Kimmich? A player who started playing as a right back, has played as a right wing back, has played as a right-sided centre back, now thriving in that midfield. And are we seeing the midfield partnership of Rhys James in particular and Caicedo being the midfield that might actually push Chelsea? Because I've always said the main thing that Chelsea need, because this season, one thing I can say is that Chelsea have kept many clean sheets. In fact, more clean sheets than expected. Even the goal difference says something that is quite different. So Chelsea have conceded 15 goals this season, and that is the same as Aston Villa. Yet Chelsea has played one extra game. The only team that has conceded less goals than Chelsea is Arsenal. Chelsea have also scored 27 goals, and that is just one goal behind Arsenal. So the thing that has made Arsenal get above Chelsea has been the defense, because we made some errors in some games that actually costed us points. Because let me just share this screen so at least everybody is able to see what I'm saying. So Chelsea have one goal behind Arsenal, and they have conceded 15 goals. Arsenal has conceded 9. So when you look at what you call defensive solidity, Chelsea have been super solid defensively. So the thing here is, if Chelsea can be able to maintain that solidity, have that partnership of Fofana and Chaloba and Kukurea, and Gusto or Rhys James in that right back and Caicedo sitting in front of them, if Chelsea can replicate their strong defensive soundness, I think probably as Mehdi likes to talk about underlying numbers and overlying numbers, probably we can find ourselves in a very unique position. Yes, Mehdi?
No, no, I was just laughing.
Yeah, so what's your opinion on the strong defensive display that you're currently seeing at this team? Because Maresca in the Bournemouth game, he said, I'm so happy. Yes, I know we did not win, but at least we kept a clean sheet.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think that when we look at the numbers, they do suggest that we're kind of low. But at the same time, we have to remember we had like what 2 or 3 games with a red card in the Premier League, maybe even more. So those numbers could have been a lot higher. We also had a lot of individual errors, via Tosin and other players in game, Santos as well against Brighton. So even penalties, right? I believe, have we conceded a penalty this year? I actually don't remember. But yeah, there's
You,
basically been a lot of individual errors and red
I don't,
cards,
I
which
don't,
cannot.
I don't think we've considered a penalty. But one thing that I can say is that our aggressive nature, the way we wanted to be super aggressive without the ball, has made us concede red cards that have actually affected us. Like I think we have dropped how many points? we have dropped we have dropped
At
close to
least
10 points.
nine. Yeah, at least
Yeah,
9 points.
10
Because
points.
Brighton, United, we also had
Awesome.
Arsenal, and there was one more game I think, right, where we got a red card as well. Forgot which one.
uh,
Bayern, but
I
that
don't,
doesn't count.
Bayern, we didn't get a red card.
Yeah, no, we did get a red card. João Pedro got a red card.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I definitely think that's an issue. The way I look at this team, we're playing Newcastle next. That's gonna be a really, really, really tough game. We know we don't like going there, but I will say this: last year at St James Park with 10 men, we were unlucky to be beaten 2-0 because that did not feel like a 2-0 game. If we remember that fixture, I genuinely was like, damn, we are unlucky. We were playing so well and we could have actually walked away with something. Look, in football, you never know, man, what can happen. Everton beat the Old Trafford curse this year. Well, who knows? We've beaten Man United in recent years. We haven't done that in a long time. We can beat Newcastle. It's good to be optimistic. But yeah, I think if we can also beat Cardiff, now then people are saying, oh, Chelsea are now into the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. They've just beaten a good informed Everton. Now they're going to St James Park away. Can they do it? So I think momentum is important in a season. The more you keep going, the more you need to like allow the players to build their confidence and motivation. And the one way, as you said, we can keep doing that is if we can manage consistency with the pairing, right, of center backs. I think like the best teams in the world in every game in the Premier League have a foundation. You need a spine in a team in terms of your striker, in terms of CDM, in terms of your center backs and your goalie, right? So, but once you change that pairing, man, you have to remember that these defenders are stepping up to commit to offsides. They're sometimes covering for each other. You keep chopping and changing, it's going to be hard to build that chemistry. But I think because Fofana and Chalobah have been here for so long, even prior to Maresca, it might be a big factor towards this. And they've also been under Tuchel, who was an excellent defensive manager. So I definitely think that, going forward, we should make that our solid pair. Definitely. Just maybe a striker hasn't fully been in place, but I think João Pedro, he's the one that he wants to keep there. So yeah, what do you think?
I do agree with you, but one thing that I always say and I always stand with is I'd rather have a very strong defense. I'd rather suffer from a very strong defense and a blunt attack, because I do think that a strong defense will make you not lose games. You can draw games, but you cannot lose games. And I think that has also been what Arsenal have prided themselves in. The reason why people are saying Arsenal being strong, they are known to be strong because of their defense. And if you are so hard to break down, if you are so hard to beat, then you start gaining the courage. And I think one thing that Maresca said, and I saw that he actually made a good point, is he acknowledged that clean sheet against Bournemouth. He acknowledged it. After conceding 3 goals, you go back to keeping a clean sheet. Now, one thing that I also have to say is that we've really underrated. I think, yes, despite the changes, I do, and when I sat down and I reflected about Chelsea's recent performance, I noticed one thing. We do underestimate the statistics that Chelsea have a 25% win rate without Caicedo, meaning that games where Caicedo does not play, Chelsea, majority of the times, they do not actually win those games. That's number one. Number two, I'm not saying that with Caicedo we win all games, but he makes us stronger. Number two, Maresca, as much as we complained about him going ultra defensive, he had to make these changes in particular because he wanted to try and seal the gap that was left by Caicedo. He wanted to have extra players in midfield who will be able to shut down midfield and help in winning the ball. He prioritized work rate. That's why we kept on seeing Gusto being played a lot. We started to see this James being utilized in that midfield because Maresca wanted to have that magnet, and he knew the work that Caicedo does can probably be done by 2 players. So he wanted to incorporate more attacking players. I do understand why he's hesitant to start João Pedro, Palmer, and Estevao in one game, because I do think that Estevao is slightly weak when it comes to the out of possession job. Is not so strong when it comes to actually helping the team without the ball. We saw it today in the latter stages of the first half when Chelsea relaxed, and that started because we know very well that João Pedro is not an excellent presser, and also Cole Palmer coming back from injury is also not an excellent presser. That's why Everton were gaining more and more confidence, pushing more players up, because their attacking players are not the players who you expect to be the most hardworking players. So whenever you are looking to play João Pedro and Palmer, then I think that is when Maresca prefers to have Neto, because Neto is a workaholic. He will track back, he will press forward, he will be an outlet without the ball. And these are some of the things that we probably do not see as fans, but are some of the things that the backroom staff generally look at. So let me just hear what Christian has to say. How are you? What do you think about the game? Well, what's your conclusion about the game? And what do you think Chelsea can build on from this?
So, good evening. First of all, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
I know, but you know me, I'm a Mr. Cool Head himself. I'm never going to say Chelsea's back and I start singing and dancing and going all crazy. No, that's not me. I'm very calm, as you know. And first of all, okay, this game that Chelsea should have been a 4-0. Clear, the amount of chances they missed, it was actually quite worrying to miss so many chances. Going ahead, looking ahead. If you're going to miss those kind of chances, in other games where it's 0-0 or maybe you're behind 1-0 and you get gifted those chances, they should be scoring, because you don't get that many opportunities, and normally they should be putting Garnacho for really. Gittins another one, but okay, they played well. They had to work hard. There's no easy games in the Premier League, as you said yourself. It doesn't matter whether you're playing United, Everton, Fulham, Bournemouth, maybe except for Wolves. Maybe that is the only easy game you have. But I know in Chelsea probably a struggle there as well. But that is, we make bad teams look good. Isn't that what the history of Chelsea? The gift that keeps giving. We like Father Christmas. We can uplift teams which are going through a bad spell. The moment they play Chelsea, things are going flat. But today, yes, it was. I'm actually underneath the blankets. I got fever. I got what they call this, a flu. But I was literally watching this game underneath the blankets, and because I was very surprised to see. Okay, Chelsea's playing a more, how can you put it, conservative, more thought through game there. and Everton. Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe it's London or whatever it is, but it was just nice. There's a nice feeling to watch a game for once where the Chelsea. You sort of thought, okay, now this is the Chelsea we know. This is how Chelsea normally plays: fast, free-flowing football. I don't know if it's because Palmer came back. But yeah, the only issue I could see there was João Pedro. I think this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know. He's lost his momentum. He's lost his flow. He's lost his self belief. That's what I was looking for. He's lost belief in himself. Yes, I know he scored in the Champions League, but that was that was kind of goal Ronaldo scores, and then he adds to his stats. And oh, look, I'm the greatest goal scorer ever. It's a tap in, so you couldn't miss from that distance. But I don't know how they will fix him, if they will fix him. Yeah, that is an interesting story. And so, yeah, I'm very, very happy from what I saw. Defensively, obviously, as you just mentioned, defenses win championships. That is basically the DNA of any good, solid team is a defense. Without a good defense, it doesn't matter how many goals you bang in. If they're flying in the other end, it's not only you're going to probably lose games or draw games, but also it saps the energy out of the team. Every time you've seen any team when the team concedes, people lift up their hands up in the air, Van Dijk style, or they hang their heads, and you can literally see the energy sapping out of somebody's body when they concede a goal. So when you concede many goals, it's almost like mentally you're almost giving up, mentally switching off. But it'd be interesting to see how they will play when they go up to Newcastle. If they're going to play in the same style, or if they're going to sit back and wait. Because Newcastle, they're a very toxic counter-attacking team. That's how they play. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of formation, what kind of tactics. And I think they can get a result up there. It's not. I think if Spurs can go up there and get 2-2, so can Chelsea go up there and get a result. Because I watched that game and Newcastle. It doesn't look that fantastic. They've been better before. I would say the season before that they were Newcastle very good, but they seem to be, they've had a bad start this season, and they've sort of stabilized a little bit. But I still think Chelsea can go there and get a result when nobody least expects. Even though it's one of those grounds we never normally don't get very much out of. But I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Garnacho was good today, only that luck was not on his side. He has really pressed. Yeah. Work rate wise, he's done quite well. He even his positioning was quite well. That is one thing I can say. But again, his end product, and as an attacker, that is what you're going to be charged. So I've just looked at the table: 16 games played, 28 points, 27 goals scored, 15 goals conceded. If Chelsea can manage at least 3 more clean sheets, then I can say that is a healthy first leg. I think we generally struggle in the first leg. I do think so. We generally struggle in the first leg. The same thing happened last season. Last season in the first leg, we picked up quite later on in the first leg, but we struggled a lot. And also this season, we struggled a lot in the first leg because we've had multiple injuries to very, very key and influential players. So we probably hope post-January, then we will probably have, I don't think we have any player going for AFCON. So I think that is something that is going to be super, super, super great for Chelsea when it actually comes to that. The thing that you have said is that you're usually very calm. Yes, I do get that. I'm also usually very calm. I'm not a person that is going to come here like Mr. Lingala and say that, yeah, I think now we can get Arsenal. You see, like, one thing that I always say is that the more you put hope in the team and you raise your expectations so high, is the reason that makes you to get disappointed. I think that is the thing, because when we look at games, we constantly look at games. That's why sometimes I do understand when you constantly tell Mehdi that stop looking at the numbers. Sometimes just look at the eye test. It will tell you how the game is. Because when I take out the Premier League table, I look at it and say, oh, Chelsea have conceded 15 goals. Oh, Chelsea lost to Leeds. Chelsea lost to Brighton. Chelsea lost to Manchester United. Chelsea probably have a bad defense, because everybody in the media is talking about Chelsea having a bad defense. But we, the fans, are like, no, the defense is actually doing good because they have kept I think it's the 7th clean sheet, but Chaloba and Fofana have kept 6 clean sheets between themselves. Name me a centre-back partnership. In fact, in the Premier League, they are the only centre-back partnership that have kept more clean sheets. Here's one thing that people don't know, because Gabriel and Saliba have been out injured, but them two, when you look at the games that have been played, the two centre-backs, the two players who are leading in terms of clean sheet is Fofana and Chaloba. And those are the players that everybody's saying is bad for Chelsea. However, what I've always said is that it is all about focusing on the next game. Why? Because when you win games, it creates that winning feeling. It creates that winning zeal in the team. So you find that the confidence in the team grows. When you win and then you keep a clean sheet, you win, then you keep a clean sheet, you win, then you keep a clean sheet. They start just coming. They start just coming. They start just coming. You realize that all of a sudden you're very solid defensively. All of a sudden you even know how to grind wins because you have embedded that within the mentality of the team. So now the team becomes mentality monsters. So I would not like that after getting this win, after the disappointing result in midweek in the Champions League, that we now go back and cave. No, I don't want us to go back and cave. And neither don't I want that Maresca goes and heavily rotates underrating Cardiff. Because of what? Cardiff is going to look at that game. They are playing against a top team. They are looking to try and get to the semi-finals, because also these teams from the championship always have that belief. So yes, I do understand that he will have to rotate for that Cardiff game, but I don't want him to go and heavily rotate in that game. No, I want him probably within the defense. He can look at Gusto and say, oh, you made a great performance, you stay back. He can even start Chaloba. Chaloba has an incredible fitness rate. He played half game in the Champions League. Start Chaloba and Joshua. Then you can play Hato in that left back position. Then you can look now to bring in Santos in that midfield. You can now rest Enzo in that game. You can now bring in Santos and probably Caicedo to start. It's also good to have Caicedo starting that game so that you can get him running before the Premier League game. Then try to get a win earlier on. Then now you can bring in Tyreek George. Even Tyreek George probably can start that game. So it's all about getting the balance between the attack and defense. But so far, what I can say is that the basics were done today. Clean sheet, 2 goals, 3 points, and that actually brings back belief into the team. I know that maybe some...
Can I ask you something? It's a very small question. So I know you have a very high IQ, and you have attention to detail. There was one moment in that game. I want to hear your opinion about this game. There's that one particular moment. It concerns Fofana. The time he got the yellow card. Did you notice something when there was 2 things actually. One, the way he committed that yellow card, and 2, did you see his hand movement, his provocation?
Yeah, I saw it.
What do you read into that? I'm just curious to see what you read into it.
I think that is one thing of constantly trying to wind up teams, and winding up teams is quite great because you get them now playing recklessly, and then once you get them now playing recklessly, they're even able to now give you more fouls and even probably a red card or even consider penalty. And the aspect of the tactical foul, I understood it because probably if you allow them to get past that, they probably score. So I do understand what he did there. And one thing I like about Wesley Fofana that I think other defenders don't have, it is his agility. He's very agile. He's very fast.
So basically, for how I saw it, I saw 2 things in it. One, it's what you said there. The agility to me showed me that this guy is now back to 100%. He's fully fit. He's back. His confidence, his mental confidence. You know, if you saw when he first came back, he didn't look very confident, even just coming off injury. But now it feels like the way he committed that foul, the power with that kind of passion. It showed me that this is a player who's not scared. This is a player who's now believes himself, and to the point where he now has mental surplus to actually even have time to provoke the Everton players. You know, that provocation set off handbags. If you notice the way he provoked them, it really infuriated the Everton players, and the Chelsea players that started fighting. But that is a player who is now mentally strong, who he believes himself. In his mind, he feels like he's back to his best. And this is what I saw. Just from that little sequence, I could see, okay, this player, the belief is back. He believes nobody can touch him. And on his day, when he's on top form, he is probably one of the best players in the Premier League. But as always, as I said, an accident waiting to happen with his injuries and all that. But just that, it's just interesting to watch that aspect of that game mentally.
Yeah. Before now, I introduce Mekdi, be ready. I'm about to introduce you. One thing I also like about Wesley is that I think there's one aspect of Wesley that we don't usually talk about, and I think there's an element of leadership. I know he might not be quite the most vocal person on the pitch, but one thing that we all know is that it's not that Chalobah is a great defender. That is one thing that we all know. It's not that Chalobah is a great defender, but Wesley makes Chalobah play better. Getting that. And also, one thing about Wesley is that he was super tense when he got the ball. That is something that he struggled with even under Pochettino. Whenever you would play the ball to Wesley, he will get it, hoof it long. He was not so comfortable with it. But nowadays, I see he's very comfortable. He makes the right decisions when he has the ball. He knows when to carry the ball forward. He knows when to slow down the game. He knows when to up the tempo of the game. And this just shows the amount of confidence. And one thing I like is that when defenders keep multiple clean sheets together with the goalkeeper, it actually boosts their confidence because they are like, we are doing our job. We are keeping the team in the game. So it now puts a lot of pressure on the attack. Now, the horror show is not on the defender. Now, I will read this, then Mehdi, you can take over. It's true that Fofana is giving Chelsea confidence in the back line. Stopping that counter-attack was excellent from him. Yeah, I do agree. Yes, Mehdi, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I do think like whenever I've seen Fofana, he does look like he's back to his best. He does look fit. He does look like, like, oh, he's ready. You don't really start worrying about him getting injured. And most of the times when he does get hurt, it's just like a minor thing. Like that time when he got the stud in his eye, that happens. Um, yeah, I think what you get with Wesley is an aggression that most of the team can lack sometimes. And sometimes I think that really, as Chris, as you said, that it does make the opposition make silly mistakes. He's really fast. Chalobah's really fast. So some defenses they tend to have one fast center back and one big center back, so they can complement each other. But when you have two fast center backs, it can be difficult to catch a team on transition. I think that will also probably help us to hold the ball more because now if we have Caicedo and two very pacey backliners, then you know that even if there is a counter attack on the loose, we can recover very easily. It allows the rest defense to have a more solid structure. And at the same time, whenever I watch West, my only concern is sometimes the crosses into the box, like I said, with Marino, and even the last game, I forgot which one it was before this. Yeah, it was Atalanta. But again, we have to remember that Wesley's just come back. He hasn't played for a long time, and maybe the more game time he gets, the more he'll be fit, the more he's able to build a consistent partnership with one solid defender. Probably those bad habits will slowly start eroding away. Yeah, I think that's really about it. My only concern sometimes is I like James as a midfielder. I get it that we can't play him as a fullback due to his hamstrings, not being the strongest after years of wear and tear. But like I think that raises other problems because now it does feel like we're a bit oversaturated in midfield. Because let's say Lavia recovers fitness, which is rare, I know. But Santos, Lavia, James, Caicedo, I believe you also have Kendry Paez who will probably be coming back next year. Darasugo, and then right back you have Gusto and Ashipong. So it brings other issues, but I guess we'll have to see how that goes. What do you guys think about that?
Are you going to give
Yeah.
flowers to? Are you going to give your flowers to Gusto? You can see why the manager loves this guy. This guy Gusto, he's growing in confidence. Wow, he's becoming like one of the most important players of that team.
Yeah. And actually, he scored a goal. I think this is the second goal. He had not scored a goal for Chelsea despite playing for Chelsea in the last two seasons. He went goalless. Today, he has scored a goal. He scored an assist. One thing that I think Maresca, it's a magnet. When Gusto plays, it's more like a magnet to Maresca, is the work rate. And I've always said this. The work rate. I always say this. I am usually happy seeing a player who runs. Yes, I was disappointed sometimes in the Conor Gallagher's final decision making in the final third, but the ability of him getting the ball running, getting once we don't have the ball pressing, I see a player who's giving his all for the team. And that is one problem that I have with João Pedro. That is the same problem I used to have with Christopher Nkunku. You cannot walk. I don't like walking. And if you are a player who likes to walk, then at least pick a holding midfielder and look to stop that player from receiving the ball. But you cannot just walk. A centre back is carrying the ball right in front of you and you are unable to press. That is why, as much as a lot of fans call for Estevao to start, when I see Pedro Neto, I'm like, well, I have no problem, because Neto also gives me that. Even Garnacho, his work rate is great. I think that is probably one of the things that is making Gittens, him to actually play over Gittens. His work rate is also quite fantastic. And I'm shocked because the Garnacho I used to know in Manchester United never used to work. I think at Chelsea, he has found that even players like Palmer, he has found a young team, and I don't think Enzo can allow such laxity. I think if Garnacho attempts that laxity, I think his fellow countryman will tell him off in that game. I think because Enzo is that one player in the team. Yes, sometimes he looks tired, but you need his leadership on the pitch, because yes, Reece James is the captain, but Reece James is somebody who's usually, he doesn't talk a lot, but Fernandes is that player who can even give you a slap if you're probably sleeping in that. Yes, you're sleeping in the game. He's the one player who can tell you off. So I really appreciate that.
Enzo's played how many games now in a row? 6 games in a row?
Yeah.
Wow. What kind of engine room is this, man? This is not normal.
If you guys go read what Maresca said, he did say that these 48 hours were the worst to be Chelsea because, and he felt like a lot of us actually didn't support them after the Arsenal game.
What did he say?
I sent it in the group. He basically said the last 48 hours has been the worst.
Oh, yeah.
To the Arsenal game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to an extent, you can understand it a little bit, because there were some fans who came out and were like, Maresca out, which you kind of neglect all the good work a manager has done. So I can understand where he's coming from, but regardless, I don't think that's something that should have come out in the press.
Yeah, and I also don't think that he should have said that, because one thing that I have to say, last season when Manchester City were losing games for fun, Manchester City were losing even 7 games in a row, Manchester City fans started booing Pep. And even Pep had to come out in the press conference and tell them, now, do you understand the work that I've been doing was hard? Are people now able to understand that I was not just winning these Premier League titles easily? Because the Manchester City fans had started to be entitled. And when City actually did not win that league, Pep came out later on in the season and said, I think this has been a good season. So that the fans don't just expect league titles. They know that you have to fight for this thing. It's not easy. I think that thing that Pep said shows that he's a manager who's very smart, because he actually came out, because it reached a point where Pep looked at the fans and he was like, I have done all this for you. I've won the treble. I've won the 4-peat. I've won the 3-peat. I've won the league with 100 points. I've beaten Liverpool with 98 points. I've done all this for you. I'm just going through a bad time. And when I expect you to stand by me, some of you are even thinking about getting another manager, and I am here. I think you remember that, Christian.
I think he's muted.
Sorry. Yes, my microphone was muted, and it's probably. But the fans were probably listening to Jamie Carragher, who probably was spouting some poison there and poisoning their minds and convincing them that okay, he's got to go, because you didn't have success that season there. But Carragher and Neville and those kind of people, they have an agenda, obviously, because they, in their minds, we got to get rid of Pep. If we don't get rid of Pep, City will always be there and be winning. So that was it. But fans didn't always see it. That they didn't quite understand that their agenda is just to get rid of Pep Guardiola here, make him go somewhere else, so the others can pick up the crumbs. As you know, when you have a great manager, go look at Man United, who's been dominant and has been so good. The moment he goes, a club can crumble very fast, and so this is what they're trying to do. So when that don't work, then of course they always bring up the 151 charges or whatever it is. There's always some kind of agenda. Same when Chelsea was back on top and winning. They would always kind of find some rubbish to throw in Chelsea's direction. So I don't subscribe to social media. I don't subscribe to what those so-called pundits and experts say. I just look through what is their motive, what is their agenda, what is it they're really trying to get to. Then you'll know, okay, this one is trying to do this one's trying to do this. And same thing with politicians when they hold their rallies and stuff. I just laugh. I think really people actually subscribe to this nonsense. But yeah. But hey, good for Maresca. He needed this win very, very badly because the pressure.
And also, I do think that the team also needed this win. One thing that I always say is that when I look at some of the fans, I always know that who cannot sit in that board of Chelsea, who I can know somebody who has not probably run a business. I know that when I look at the reaction of some fans, because some people expect winning all 38 games. It is bound. Everybody who has, especially if you've watched football for a long time, there is that time in the season is coming. There is that time that is coming where you're going to lose. There is a string of games where you will drop points. If you're a Chelsea fan, If you're an Arsenal fan, If you're a Manchester City fan, even when City were winning the league, there was a period of time where you would find around 5 games, they have probably just won 2 games, they have drawn a couple, they have lost 1 or 2, and maybe they lose to Crystal Palace, maybe they lose to Spurs, or maybe they go away to Anfield and they get beat. So there's always that aspect of football where there's certain durations within the season where you're going to drop points. So myself, you always know me. I am like, even when people were like the other time saying, including you, Christian, were saying that, oh, you probably now let's start talking about Glasner. Let's talk about getting another manager. And I've always been that person who said that, no, just give him till the end of the season. Let's see what he's going to do. Let's evaluate him during the end of the season. Because you never know. Maybe he wins the Carabao Cup. Maybe he wins the FA Cup. Maybe he finishes second. Maybe he finishes third. Maybe he wins the Champions League, though I don't want to talk about the Champions League because at the moment, the positioning does not favor us. We wasted a game in Karabakh. We wasted this Atlanta game. That would be enough for us to secure the Champions League. So I don't want to talk about the Champions League, but what I'm saying is that I'm always that person who's like, unless it's a crisis, the way we had with Potter, where we are going 10 games without winning, or we are going 15 games without winning, then I can say, pull the plug. But if it's not a crisis, it's just 3 games in a bounce, less than 5 games, I'm like, let's just persist. These things will come, let's just persist. And I think that is one thing. But Maresca also needs to understand that even Tuchel won the Champions League. The following season, he finished third, even after Lukaku wrecked the dressing room. He had a team where there were a lot of aging players who had to go. Jorginho, Aspilicueta, N'Golo Kante. Mendy was now losing his form. Chilwell was constantly injured together with Reece James. Marcos Alonso, who had no legs. And Tuchel was actually going through that transition phase. Giroud was going. But Chelsea fans forgot that this is a manager who won them the Champions League, the Super Cup, and the Intercontinental Cup. They call it like that nowadays. And they were calling for the sacking of Thomas Tuchel. Even that Leeds game, when everybody was shocked, yes, Thomas Tuchel was sacked. But a lot of fans were starting to call for his sacking. When Potter came in, everything went downhill. But again, I was like, even when Potter came in, I was still like, give him time. I was like, give him time, at least in the Champions League. If he manages to, because he was doing well in the Champions League, we probably allow him in the Champions League. But the board decided to sack him. They brought in Lampard. Honestly, I've never been a fan of Lampard coaching Chelsea.
But you can compare that. You can actually compare this to Arne Slot. Look how slowly, little one foot at a time they're recovering, and they're there. Liverpool's not that far behind. They're right there in the mix.
They are just there 2 points, and I believe that if they are not a bad team, Liverpool are not a bad team. They are not a bad team. If they win 5 games in a row, they are probably back in the top 4. The same thing that happened with Manchester City. The same thing that happened with Manchester City. What happened with Manchester City last season? They were losing games until Pep scratched himself all over. He was losing his mind. Then what happened? They went into a 7-game streak. They even finished above Chelsea.
I think it's important to also remember that most of these social media outlets, most of the news, like they're looking for negative information so they can get more views and, sell out their headlines. So it's important that whenever we see these big news getting more coverage, getting more attention, getting more, just more overall being pushed into our algorithm, we should remember why that's the reason. It is because people behind those seats do have their own agenda behind it. They're just trying to, get as much money as they can, get as much views as they can. So sometimes they're not exactly being objective. Sometimes they will be a bit more extreme in order to generate these, chaotic circumstances, because they're going to benefit. And they're not going to really care about the club, because at the end of the day, if you're going to do your job, you're not really caring about, Chelsea or any other club. You're just caring about how much money you can make, which is understandable. Everyone has to feed their family, but ethics again. So it's important for us as fans to be objective and reasonable and not be reactionary when we see these things, and to actually look at it from a holistic point of view.
Guys, we are having close to around 20 people watching. If you've not liked, please like the video, because when you like the video, it pushes the live stream to other people. So if you really want to support us and you want to help us, kindly like. If you're watching, you've not like the video. So one thing that you have said.
Can I answer Mehdi?
Yeah.
So what Mehdi was saying there was obviously 1,000% correct. But so those social media icons, the Carragher, Nevilles, or whoever's who, in their theory, so like they secretly hope Man United lose. They secretly hope Liverpool lose, because that's what sells. When Man United wins, nobody's really interested. Same as Chelsea, when they win, nobody's really interested. It's when the big teams lose, when the people, unhinged people on social media go crazy. That is what they're looking for. They're looking for that stupid reaction, that very bad loser mentality, that very bad, this is, you can see it, just go on any any YouTube, see the videos that do, those like compilation videos of when Chelsea loses, and you got all the different guys like yourself, having a meltdown. That is what people want to watch. This is what sells. They don't want to watch you when you're happy and you're winning, because it makes them feel bad themselves, which is so ridiculous.
And one thing that I always have to say is that also Maresca needs to stay away from social media. He needs to stay away. I know whenever we win, he's up to posts in the Instagram. He allows comments. So I think sometimes also as a manager, yes, I do understand you have your social life, but try to stay away from social media. That is one thing that can really help you. Thomas Tuchel never used to stay in social media. You never see Pep in social media. Even when he's winning trebles, you generally never see him there. So I think it's something that, I do understand he's a young coach, but he needs to control that, because social media is so toxic. And as what Christian has said, the media is all about the media. Their biggest currency is attention. So the club that generates a lot of controversy gives the media what we call attention, because the media now, when you give the media something like this, they will blow it out of proportion. You see, even if probably Palmer gets subbed and he's not happy, and Maresca stretches his hand and Palmer refuses to tap it, tomorrow it will be like, Palmer, the dressing room is tense. Oh, Palmer is so angry. Palmer and Maresca are not seeing eye to eye. Oh, Palmer is even declining to come to training. He's coming to, they will go to manufacture all sorts of things. That is what the media does, because the media is up to get attention, because attention is the currency of the media. Because once they have a huge traffic, they have huge people watching them, what happens? They get more advertisers, and more advertisers equals more money. So for media, it's all about getting attention. And there's nothing that gives attention than a crisis. Whether the crisis is real, whether the crisis is manufactured. That's why they have some managers that they like. They liked Mourinho. Why did they like Mourinho? Because Mourinho was a controversial figure. He's always giving them news. That's what they like. Why do they like Chelsea? Because Chelsea, whenever they put pressure on them, they crack. When they crack, they start to overreact. They want to sack the manager. And that has always been something that Chelsea have done. And I've been that one person who's like, if we don't win the league this season, but we win a couple of cups and we finish fourth, I will not be like, this manager needs to be sacked. I will be like, we finished fourth last season, probably. Even he came out and said that was not his goal or his objective last season, because that was his first season. The second season, he finishes fourth. He wins a couple of trophies, maybe the Carabao Cup, maybe the FA Cup, maybe even the Champions League. I'll be like, okay, that's a good season. Then we go now next season. Next season, he knows the players more. The players know him. I am also this person who wants continuity in the club. Yes, I do understand that a lot of fans want us to be Arsenal. They want us to be so strong like Arsenal. We are strong. We are winning games. We're winning games. Look at the top best teams in the Premier League. Look at the top two best teams in the Premier League. Look at the average duration of their managers. Yes, I know people are talking about Slot. Slot won the league last season because Manchester City were pathetic. And Arsenal were also pathetic. Do you think that if Arsenal were playing the way they were playing this season, last season, do you think Liverpool wins that league? No. Liverpool won that league because whoever was to challenge them were poor. If the Arsenal that we have this season was actually the Arsenal that was playing last season, I don't think Liverpool win that league. I think Arsenal put enough pressure to Liverpool, and that limits actually Liverpool from winning that league. But Liverpool were able to capitalize when everybody else wasn't good. Manchester City were going through a rebuilding phase. Arsenal were also having their own injury and red cards, which were derailing them. So I think that is one thing that we need to understand. The two top managers in the league as we speak, in fact, the three of them, Pep Guardiola, Mikel Arteta, Unai Emery, have one thing in common. They are the longest serving managers in the Premier League. Pep Guardiola is entering his 10th year in the Premier League. Mikel Arteta is in his 5th year, entering his 6th year. Unai Emery is probably entering his 4th year. So it's not that because Slot came in, and Slot came in, won the league with Klopp's squad, and you see now this season he has been given his squad. You're seeing the team falling off. The same thing that happened with Conte. Conte came with a new system, won the league. The next season, he was not well backed. He threw the toys out of the door, and that is what happened. So I do think that as fans, especially as Chelsea fans, we need to start moving away from this thing of whenever we don't win 3 games, the manager should go. Yes, we can criticize. I've criticized Maresca. It's not that I'm defending him. Even Pochettino, I was like, let's give him another season. This season, he finished 6th. We saw him going into a winning streak, winning 7 games towards the end of the season. I was shocked when Pochettino was sacked. I didn't want that to happen, but he was sacked. So I was like, are we going back to this hiring and firing? So we have one manager, does well in his first season. In his second season, is okay. He's still okay. We are not in a crisis. We are not 10th. We are not 15th. No, we've just not won the last 3 games. And people expect us to win every game. So I'd be like, let's see the end of the season. If finishes in the top 4, gets caps, to me, it'll be like, okay, you warrant a 3rd season. Go for it in the 3rd time. Then the 3rd time now, I expect you to now be challenging. If he can do that this season, I'll also appreciate.
I think also it's important for a club to build an identity from where it can lay its foundations. You can't really do that when you keep changing managers because they'll have different styles and different ways of approaching games. Therefore, players are also going to struggle to adapt to a certain system. I think something we really underrate is the understanding that you need of your role, the understanding of your position in a team. Some people want to start, some people are worried about game time. Some managers want certain players, other managers don't. So when you keep chopping and changing, it brings all these issues. The club never really has a foundation to stand on. And yeah, we won many titles, but at the same time, I have to remember those were like small, fruitful endeavors on the side quest, but they weren't sustainable long term. It can work for certain clubs if you have really strong power, like Real Madrid, but we're not Real Madrid. I think it's important to always build like a foundation upon which your other principles can then start growing branches out of league titles, Carabao Cups, and all of those things in between. So the longer we keep a manager, the longer we have an identity, the more clear indication of the players we want to bring in becomes, and the more clear of an indication of the players' roles like start to really come out and be understood.
Yeah. Thank you. We have 14 of you, please. If you are watching this video, kindly like as it pushes the video to even more and more people. And this aspect of continuity, I know it's immune to Chelsea fans. Chelsea fans are walking into new grounds. They are walking in grounds where how are we having a manager more than 2 seasons? Because the average time that a manager spends at Chelsea, do you know how long it is? 1.5 years. 1.5 season. That is 1.5 season. In fact, it was Roman Abramovich was so ruthless that he sacked Carlo Ancelotti for coming second.
Second, yeah, that was crazy. That
Ancelotti
was
won the
great.
league. Ancelotti won the league the previous season. Then he was sacked the following season for coming second. That's how ruthless. And that was the season where Manchester United, I think Manchester United won the treble that season.
I think so, yeah. Oh, eight, right?
Yeah. It was 08. And Carlo Ancelotti was sacked. So I do understand that there's this desire to win, but when we just go in a simple run, it's not quick to say now sack the manager, especially people who are talking about sacking the manager mid-season. When it's sacking the manager mid-season, to me, I always say like, we have already given up on the season. That's what I always see. Like, we have given up on the season. Because I don't expect a new manager to come in and we go on a winning streak. That is, especially in the Premier League, those things used to happen. Those things used to happen that you get a new manager, you get a manager bounce. Manchester United have hired 2 new managers in the middle of the season. The other teams don't wait for you. They don't wait for you. Other teams don't wait for you. The minute you're getting a new manager wants to implement his ideas, they are beating you. They are slapping you every week. Baptism by fire. That's the same thing used to happen to Amorim. It happened to Ragnick. It happened to Ten Hag. If you don't have a preseason, and a preseason that is long, not sacking. If Maresca finishes 4th, I won't sack him because the World Cup is there. So when the World Cup comes and the World Cup will drag on, so the players are going to come back tired. How do you expect those players to come back tired and then they're coming back to a new manager? They have to learn something new. And that is what makes players start to ask to leave the club. That is when you start seeing players losing their morale because they are like, we are fighting for this manager. But we know very well that if things don't go well, you're going to sack him. So the players will not be playing even for the manager. So in my opinion, I've always maintained this. I know I really wanted Isaac to be here because Isaac has always been that fire. When you don't win 2 games, go. If you don't win 2 games, I want you gone. I want you to win me the treble. So I'm always that person, like, just take it patiently. Let's build. I'm not getting carried away after this win to think that we are going to go for. I don't want to care where Arsenal are. I don't want to care where Manchester City are. I don't want to care where Aston Villa are. I want Chelsea to beat Cardiff. Then when we beat Cardiff and the position and the situation we have the players with, now after that Cardiff game, we can be like, we have won 2 games. That's why I'm telling you, Mekdi, the Cardiff game, Maresca shouldn't rotate heavily. He should win that game. That game
No, the
is so
reason I
important.
say that is because he, in his press conference, I don't know if you heard, he did say
Yeah.
that he was going to give Hato minutes and he was going to give Santos minutes. Hato didn't get any minutes today, so that's why I think he might start against Cardiff, or he might get minutes there.
Yeah, and that's not a problem. To me, that's not a problem. But what I'm saying is, yes, he's going to give Hato minutes. I think, yeah, it's good. He can rest Cucurella, but he shouldn't rotate heavily. He shouldn't. I think even Caicedo should start that game. Just some few minutes, then he can be off. Because if you win that game, you want to add another win. Because once you win 2 games, the pressure is off you. Now, when you go to Newcastle and you win that Newcastle game when everybody doesn't expect you to win, then now those are 3 wins. And whatever happened in those 3 defeats are forgotten. Remember that transfer window where we drew with Brentford, we lost to Bayern, we lost to Manchester United, we lost to Brighton. Remember that transfer window? And then we won against Liverpool. Look at that. Look at that period. People were even starting to talk about Maresca going, but what happened? When he got back to winning ways, everybody forgot that. Everybody forgot that we went on to that run. So that is what I can say. I know. One thing I know about this team is that the manager has the dressing room. That is one thing I agree with. He has the dressing room. He has the players. And I can also see the players are backing the manager and the players are backing themselves. I can see it. I can see when we concede the goal. I can see their frustration. I can see their frustration when they lose the ball. I can see their frustration when they make a loose pass. That is what you have to see. When you see the players fighting, you know that they are still in it. But when you see them not fighting, the way we saw the likes of Havertz and Mount, when Potter was losing games, you kept on seeing Havertz not caring. And they even had their agents starting to, and Nkunku, and Nkunku wasn't there. Nkunku came with Pochettino. So you will see that they are also having their agents to talk with other teams, because they were like, this club is a mess. I need to go and secure my career. You see, that's how we get that energy from Havertz. One thing I have to say about Nkunku is that on the pitch is when he doesn't. He appreciated the club and wished the club well. He's a professional. That's one thing I have to say about him. Christian.
Let me ask you a question. So I know you're trying to paint this.
Christian around.
I'm here.
I think you're muted.
No, he's speaking. He's speaking.
Maybe you can pick up as Christian is trying to probably sort himself.
No, I can hear him.
No, Tyrone, we can hear him. It's your side that has an issue. Yeah, Christian, go on.
He's now frozen. I can see in the screen. He's all gone. But he was going on about, oh, everything is rosy, everything they're fighting for the manager, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. But the situation at Chelsea is that, and this is the reality. Most of those players are on like 7-8 year contracts. Maresca, I don't know, he's also got a very long contract. So those guys are stuck with each other. So it's a bit like an unlucky and unhappy marriage where financially you can't actually get out of the marriage because of whether all your things are tied up together in joint accounts and what have you. So there's no escape. So those guys are stuck with each other. So they probably got the mentality of, well, okay, we are stuck together. We're going to get the most out of this situation. So there's no. It's not like if you got like half a year left on your contract, you'll probably be at another club next season. No, you're going to be there for the next 6-7 seasons. So you may as well give it your best. And I think that's the mentality, the longevity which Mr. Tyrone was talking about. When you give them long contracts where there's no escape.
I think that also makes sense. But what makes you think that, Havertz was on a long contract as well, but then he didn't have the same attitude. Don't you think that's another factor to take in?
He was playing. Who was he playing under? Tuchel. Was that Tuchel? That anti-football from Tuchel. He had no service. He was just frustrated. He was basically one-man army. I would also be very frustrated in that situation. It's more of the tactics or the manager which probably frustrated him.
I think yeah, you could have a point. It could be that these players just know that there's no way out of the club. That's definitely a factor. But regardless, seeing that those players do get frustrated on the pitch is a positive sign. It's a lot better than when you see your players, start to laugh or start to not care or start to just, I think the worst thing is just put their hands down and become lazy. Because for us, that really hurts to see as fans. So I think sometimes we have to be grateful for those things, even regardless of how the circumstances have shaped them. I do agree with you. I don't think it's necessarily they're fighting for the manager. Sometimes it's also for themselves, like because as a footballer, you ideally want to do as well as you can for yourself. Yeah, you were saying?
But okay,
Carry
Christian
on,
was saying something.
carry on.
Yes, to some extent, yes, I do understand where the argument that Christian has and Mehdi has. But one thing that I can say is that the reason why I'm saying that they are not fighting because of their long contracts, because they are on their wages are not high, so they are players who can easily be sold. They are young, they are on they are on long contracts, but their wages are low. One thing that I can say to dispute and actually say that these players want to win, I've seen what Enzo Fernandez said. He said that he wants to win the Champions League and the Premier League at Chelsea. I have seen the way even Rhys James hugged Cucurella when Cucurella saw the ball off during the last moments. I saw that. I saw the way Rhys James and Enzo like to you see when the testosterone is high and they are winning and they are defending. You see the way Rhys James and Enzo have that chemistry. They are slapping
Yeah.
each other. They are looking at each other in the eye. I see when Neto is demanding that ball, like play the ball to me. I want to go and score. These are not things that you can fake. I can see when Palmer puts up that Instagram post and say that it's back. It's good to be back home after a very long time. You can see it, and then he scores, and you can see the way he celebrates, and you can see the way he runs to the fans. That one does not come at that I have a long contract, so I have to perform. No, it doesn't come like that. I can see the way Caicedo makes tackles. I can see the way Chaloba celebrates when he puts a block. You can see it. Those are the things that you'll just look at that. Chaloba is making a tackle and he's celebrating and he's looking at Cucurella. You can see when Sanchez bails, makes a good save. You can see the way the defenders run to him. You can see it. You can see the way Gusto makes that work rate, the way he works hard. When he makes a tackle, he's just stamping to the fans. That shows me that they are connected. That shows me that they want to achieve something together. It shows me the togetherness of the squad. It shows me a group of players who want to win together. One thing that I know is that they are also age mates. They are age mates, majority of them. They are 21, 22, 23, 24 oldest. They are age mates. They are friends. Fofana and Gusto are friends. And Benwa, those are friends. You can see Enzo and Ganacho. You can see Enzo and Rhys James. You can see Palmer and Dilab. I think I think to try and say that they are probably doing this because of their long contracts, I think that is being a bit disingenuous. I think this is just a group of core young players who want to do well. I also see the frustration they have when they don't win games. That's one thing I can say. I think you will even see their videos after the game. It will just show you that they're happy.
Maybe you could have a point. But again, I don't know. It's like I say, it is nice to see those players do that regardless of the circumstances because it does show that they're not lazy. Attitude, I think, is one of the most important things in anything in life, especially when you're in those high positions in football. The way you see your position, the way you see how you can make a difference to a situation can literally be the actual difference maker in those situations. So when you see Pedro, like sulk, it's really frustrating to see as a fan personally, because you know that the player themselves, they're good, they have the ability, but sometimes it's just kind of frustrating to see that they're kind of holding themselves back. And I do think that there are some players that if they don't fix up, it could cost them in the future. Because if you ask me if Ja Pedro carries on like this, do I still see him as a Chelsea striker in the next 3 to 4 years? I don't think so because I'm pretty sure we're very good at recruiting young players. So there will be someone coming to line up behind him.
Yeah. And also, one thing that I'd like to say is that as Chelsea fans, we need to understand one thing. We need to look at our title winning teams and understand. Yes, I think, we need to look at our title winning teams and understand that we did not just come from nowhere to win. We had experienced players. The first title, we had Cavallo, we had John Terry, we had Ashley Cole, we had Makelele, we had Lampard, we had Robin, we had is it Didier? Didier
Okay.
wasn't good. Didier wasn't good in that season. We had Joe Cole. So you see, there is an element of experience within the team. Even when Claudio Ranieri was leaving, he just needed Mourinho's mentality to be imposed on that team so that that team can actually be beasts. And I think there's one thing that happened after the Atlanta game. Rhys James and the players, not the manager, Rhys James and Fernandez and the players went to and sat together in the changing room. And Rhys James was asking the players, why are we losing to lower level teams? That is something that was broken by even by the media. Chelsea players are asking themselves, why are they losing to teams that they should beat? So they know that on their day, they can beat any team. And that one I've always said, even if you give me this strong Manchester City side and you tell me that we are facing this Man City side, I will not be scared because I know they can do something. If they don't get a red card, they can win. Even if they play this Arsenal team again, if they don't have a red card, they can win. They can beat anybody. And that is something that they have in them. I think that Club World Cup gave them that. So they can beat anyone. The problem that they have, and they have accepted they have a problem, is they cannot go to the lower level teams and win. So they have to go, and that's why I'm saying they have to beat Cardiff and make it 2 wins. They have to go to Newcastle and put a statement. Not for us, the fans. Yes, it will be good for us, for the fans. But they have to go, knowing very well how hostile St. James's Park is, how cold it's going to be because Newcastle is farther in the north, and they have to win. They have to win and they have to put a statement. Whether it's a 1-0 win, whether it's a 2-0 win, they should be ready to suffer. They should be ready to dominate. They should be ready to score a goal. They should be ready to work for the team and get that win. Once they're able to get that win and get a clean sheet, they will be back. They will be back. And all the pressure will go. The reason why Maresca is talking about having pressure in the last 48 hours is because when you look even at that Sky Sports metrics, the most optimistic fans for this season were Chelsea fans. It wasn't Liverpool fans. It wasn't Manchester City. It wasn't Arsenal fans. The most optimistic fans were Chelsea fans because they believed after winning the Club World Cup, we should just come and steamroll and win the league. But as Guardiola kept on saying, it is difficult to win the league even than the Champions League. It is easy. When you compare winning the league and the Champions League, you can win the Champions League because it's a tournament, but winning the league is super, super difficult. And that is something that we have learned as fans since 2017. And seeing that, I think that is what the team needs. They need to win that. Then they have to go to Naples. They have to win that Naples game. I don't know whether we will qualify for the round of 16. If we have to go to the playoffs, then we'll have to try and win those playoffs.
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yeah.
So you're the expert, you and Mehdi, you actually both know this. What is going on with this scheduling of games? So today we had 2 games this afternoon. Liverpool and Chelsea played, 2 top teams, 2 top 6 teams. And yet now in prime time, they're showing Burnley. Burnley really, and then later on, I can't remember who's playing. And we had this
Arsenal.
last Sunday. Yeah. And we had this last Sunday at prime time, the game of the week, the best time of the season. Fulham versus, I can't remember which other lowly. I think, what the hell's going on here? Normally, that is reserved for the big boys, the big teams. But nope, we get Fulham in prime time. I think, what the hell's going on?
With that, Mekdi, do you know why? I think probably it's more to do with the teams asking for that, because Chelsea and Liverpool, I think they played the Champions League together. I think both of them played the Champions League together earlier on, and Arsenal played late. Arsenal played on Wednesday, so that's why Arsenal can't play earlier. But also, I think they're factoring in the games. I think probably Chelsea will play on Tuesday or something. Let me just check. Yeah, Chelsea will play on Tuesday. Chelsea will play on Tuesday. Let me even check Liverpool's fixture. Just a minute. Oh, Liverpool are out of the Carabao Cup. Yeah, Liverpool. So Liverpool have an entire week. They will be playing Spurs next. So you're able to hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I think it's because of that. But I do think that Liverpool should have been. I think Liverpool should have been. Liverpool should have been playing now. I think that is what should have happened. Liverpool should be playing now.
But they saw like okay, I understand, because you said to do the Champions League and they need as much rest as possible and all that. But still, we as a fans, we are not interested in seeing Burnley versus Fulham or West Ham versus Wolves or something like that. I think, really, who the hell is going to watch that game? Not me. I'd rather watch paint dry.
Oh, by the way, when are we playing Naples? We are playing Naples in January. Wow.
They got beaten by Jose Mourinho, who here about the other day.
Oh.
Jose beat them. Benfica beat them 2-0 this midweek. This is in the Champions League.
Oh, so we need to build momentum. Yeah. Okay. So I think we have
And Conte doesn't really do well in the Champions League. I don't know why. He always seems to fail in the Champions League, Conte.
Yeah. He's not good at Champions, but when you give him the league, he's superb. I'm seeing Newcastle. Newcastle are Saturday. They're playing on Saturday. Oh, okay. Okay, so Newcastle, then Aston Villa. I think, Chelsea are going to. This time they're giving them an entire week to rest for Christmas. There is no too much Christmas fixture. Yeah, they don't have Christmas. Yeah. I think Christmas falls on a Wednesday. No, on a Thursday. Yeah. So Thursday and Friday, I think there will be no games. Yeah, Chelsea are getting an entire week off. So win Newcastle, win Aston Villa, then win Bournemouth, and end then you end the first leg. These 3 games. If you win the 3 games and you keep a clean sheet in the 3 games, I think that can be good. I think.
So what are Arsenal's next 3 fixtures, including today?
Today they are going to win. Today they are playing Wolves. That's 6-0. They're at home.
That's what the Americans call a turkey shoot. Yeah, a turkey shoot. Arsenal will be a turkey shoot. So then, who are they facing after that in the league?
Let me just check. They'll be going away to Everton. That's a tough game. That's a banana skin game. Yeah. I know we beat Everton, but if we probably played in Goodison Park, I wouldn't be so confident.
It would be 3-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have today. They have Wolves. So they have Everton. They must have one more tough game after that.
They play Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup. Then they play Brighton at home.
Well, Brighton is fading. I don't know. Brighton is not like last season or the season before. They seem to have sold one too many players, and then it's catching up on them.
I think they have 2 home games, which I think are. In fact, even the unless Crystal Palace dents them, because that Palace game, Palace aren't an easy team to play.
Must Chelsea, I'll tell you, they're a very hard team to play. But we're like 9 points behind Arsenal, 10, or how many points are we behind them in the table? If they win today.
If they win today, I think we're just going to be around 8 points behind.
So okay, see, that's done. So there's no hope. 8 points is
No. You see, this is why you're getting angry together with Isaac.
8 points.
Focus on that.
8 points. There's no way Arsenal's going to throw away 8 points. They'll throw away maybe points to Everton, maybe banana skin, as you call it. Could be banana skin against Crystal Palace. So that's 4 points. Still got to lose. They still got to lose. Nah, come on, that's not going to happen. Chelsea,
Wolves, I don't think they are going to hold. Wolves are so poor. They're so poor.
Our title dreams died at fucking Leeds. That was there. That was the final nail of the coffin. Their Leeds game there. That fiasco. That was the reality sinking in that maybe not this season.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't think any of us really expected to challenge for the title this year. Especially after seeing the injury to Colwell, it was always going to be unlikely. But we just wanted a points improvement. Maybe this year we get 75 points instead of the amount we got last year. Maybe we come third or second. And maybe we win one domestic trophy along the way, get to the Champions League, knockout stages, quarterfinals, semifinals. You see, the thing is you have to move slowly in order to progress, because even if we do win a title, right, it's going to be unsustainable because we are ahead of where we're supposed to be. We're going to have to spend more money, and it's just not a step we're ready for, I feel.
More money buying what? Apart from the centre forward?
And there's always demand, right? Like, some people might look at the left wing and be like, oh, we can do with a better winger. Some people can look at the goalie and be like, okay, Sanchez, maybe 28, we can do a better person there. Some people can look at Correa, they'll be like, he's old, we should get... there's a lot of things that come with these things. It's natural.
But I think if Jackson comes back, then they don't need to buy a centre forward. They actually have to offload some player in that position there, and in some the unfortunate thing is that Pedro João there, he's so off the beat that even if they were to sell him, his transfer value is probably fallen pretty drastically. So he needs game time, if anything, to find form, to advertise himself, and then Chelsea can offload him in that way there. But it won't happen before he finds his form, because nobody's going to be mad, unless of course Arsenal, Man United could be tempted to pay 40, 50 million for him. But I just don't think at the moment the way he's playing, he's worth not even half of that. So that could be interesting. But if Pedro Jackson comes back, then we're talking. Then we're back in business. We're back among scoring goals for fun. Him and Cole Palmer, as you know, they're like Dupont and Dupont, brother and brother, and they somehow have some kind of connection there. So that'd be interesting to see if Maresca will give him a chance, or he's going to just send him to the bomb squad, or what the hell Maresca is going to do with him.
It'd be interesting, because I wonder what will happen with Jackson, because on one hand, he's a very, very useful player. Yes, he's not the best finisher, but he offers you a lot of movement off the ball. He knows how to link players in. He knows how to make runs in behind. And, getting double-digit figures, especially in a league as we've called the Premier League, can't go underrated. I'm really curious to see what he'll actually do with him.
I think mentally, psychologically, he'll be pretty strong, because obviously he's been watching the games from Germany and seeing how Chelsea have struggled up front without him. So he'll come back there and he's going to feel like the top dog, the main man. That, okay, did you miss me? I'm back, and he will have that swagger. Because they'll know that, okay, this team cannot play really well without Jackson. So mentally, I think he'll be strong.
Jackson's only problem is always
that
been
I
his
have to
attitude.
And one thing that I can say about Jackson is that it's a double-edged sword.
Here we go.
Yes, I do agree that when I look at the current two strikers we have, I think if Jackson plays, this team plays way better. He elevates all our attackers' game. He elevates Palmer's game. He elevates Enzo's he elevates. Even Neto's game gets elevated. He's very strong in holding the defense. Mehdi, you able to hear me?
Loud and clear.
You're kind of cutting up a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah. So when I cut up, you just pick up. Okay.
Okay.
There's a huge storm here. There's a huge storm here. So what I'm saying is that with Jackson, I said that it's like a double-edged sword, which is if we bring him back, then we have to go for him on our knees, and that means we are subjecting the entire team to the mercies of Jackson, so he can be even more arrogant, more proud that I am the one who you miss me, the one who makes the team great. And Jackson is arrogant. Despite missing chances, he kept on missing chances, but he was still arrogant. Now
That's a centre
imagine
forward. That's a proper centre forward mentality. That's a proper centre forward mentality.
Yeah, but he wasn't scoring goals. It's not like I've said that it's just because when you compare him with what we have at the moment, he is a good player. But do I think that he's going to come back with the humility? That is where the problem is. You can decide to bring him back and wreck the entire team because of now he can be like, you can't do any better than me. Oh, you signed these João Pedros and Liam Delap, and I'm still the best player despite. So because even if we want to go for Jackson and Bayern Munich want to make the offer to sign him, it's us to bend over backwards, give him more money, give him better deal. You see, you are now trying to entrench player power in him. I'm not saying that he's bad. If he's humble to come back, then it's okay. But if we have to beg him to come back, no.
But you don't want a player who's coming back and he's a mouse. He's hiding in the corner. Oh, I must be very humble. I mustn't show any swagger. And then what's the point of having him? You want that bastard up front. That Costa attitude. That I am the main man. This is my place, and the team. I wouldn't say it revolves around you, but you are important. Without you, the team is nothing. We want that kind of attitude. This is maybe what is lacking a little bit in this team, the Chelsea team. Too many players with the same kind of mentality, all on the same level. And you yourself, just today, I don't know if you actually listen to what you say, but I keep receipts. You yourself was saying, what did you like the most about this game? You like that attitude, that swagger, when Cucurella and James are hugging, or Enzo and James, you like that passion, you like that fire. You yourself said that, and he will bring you that passion and fire which is so much lacking in this team.
One thing that I have to say with Jackson, I have not disputed he runs more. He holds the ball better. He brings other attackers into the game. I do not dispute. You see, if he can come back like Cucurella, what happened with Cucurella? He was actually getting loaned to Manchester United in the final moments. Remember, I think it was probably Manchester United who declined that loan, or it was Cucurella who declined that loan.
Yeah.
But when Cucurella got the opportunity, is the reason why he's one of the most important players in the team. So the question is, if Jackson can come back and say, okay, you saw that you didn't play well with me, I'm going to prove to you why I'm one of the best players and I'm going to be the leading player in this team. If he can come back and prove that, then it's okay. But begging a player, asking him, Jackson, we need you, we really want you. The way Maresca tried to convince him to stay after Delap got injured, and he was like, no, I'm going to Bayern Munich. If we have to beg Jackson, no.
But that situation when Maresca threw him under the bus and said, hey, you out of here, you're going to Bayern Munich. Now, how he would have lost so much face. He would have been humbled. He would have been embarrassed if he had come back. He had no option but to go, because that would he would have been there. Yeah. He would have been back as a laughing stock. You got no backbone. Where's your manhood? Well, how can you, after the way they've treated you, just come back on it would make him look really, really weak. But now he returns from a position of strength, because now anybody, even the most people really hated Jackson, even they sort of like gone quiet. Okay, maybe Jackson wasn't that bad after all. After we're seeing what we're seeing here with these other replacements, and Jackson, yes, he would miss some chances, but in order to miss chances, you have to be there in that position to get the chances. And his work rate, you go back to what you were saying about what's his name, Gusto. Work rate. There's nobody who has a more bigger work rate than Jackson. Guy's unselfish and he's running off the ball, dragging defenders. So that work rate opens the game up for Palmer. And I know you love Palmer, so you want to see him score all those worldies, all those goals. And Palmer doesn't get the opportunity unless he has somebody there opening up the defense for him, and that is Jackson.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you a lot with that. But at the end of the day, yes, one thing I have to say is that I think Maresca did not handle the Jackson situation quite well. Maresca is a young coach, and one thing that he needs to accept, even when he says that he felt the last 48 hours were so difficult for him and the team, he needs to accept that he makes a lot of mistakes. He needs to accept it. Because even when you want to push away a player like Jackson, you don't do that. You don't do that. You just don't. After he got a red card, then you're like, you're putting him away. You're not even naming him on the team. You're using him as a third choice striker. No. Let him feel important. Even Noni Madueke. I know he was going to sign for Arsenal, but he will be like, Maresca will be like, yes, he's going to be your player. We've agreed all terms, but at least let him get this medal so that he can come. You see, let him get this winner's medal. Let him be there. I will not play him. I will put him on the bench, but let him be there when the team is winning, so that Madueke can go to Arsenal having won something at Chelsea. Because I want those Club World Cup picks. Whenever Arsenal say, thank you, Chelsea, I'm showing them Madueke holding the Club World Cup with a medal.
But maybe Chelsea wanted to send a broken player to so that strange you mentioned that. So that what you mentioned, as insignificant as it is, but to humiliate Madueke in that way there, so he didn't get his medal, that is maybe taken maybe 5% out of his game, because he struggled at Arsenal. But obviously he scored here midweek, 2 goals. But still, that was unnice on a human level. It's just very bad to treat a player that way, to rob him of his medal, something which he will have forever and ever. He can show his kids, his grandkids, what have you, and all that. So that is, on a human level, I think that was pretty rotten.
Yeah, that was really bad, because even when I look at it, you never know, because the Club World Cup, as much as the likes of Jamie Carragher bash it and humiliate it and call it useless and all manner of names, it's because it's the inaugural one. I think after 20 years, it's going to be a huge cup. It's going to be a huge cup. And it will be disappointing if a player like Madueke did not have that in his CV when he's 40 and he says that, I actually won the inaugural one. I think that is going to be... I think that is something that probably, because I also know that when the Premier League started, probably the other Jamie Carragher was saying, oh, this is just like a Super League for all the top teams. It's a useless league. Oh, the Championship is a better league. I know they were saying that. Until now, the Premier League grew in its prowess. So, yeah.
And what if Arsenal doesn't win the league this season? That would be like Madueke will think to himself, what the fuck? So I didn't win my EPL title, which we had in the hands, as we speak. Man City pipped us for the title again and again and again. And that belief obviously will seep out of that Arsenal team. They probably won't win under Arteta if they fail to win this season. So then you think, I lost out on the medal, World Club Championship medal at Chelsea there, and then I've come to Arsenal, and then we're not winning anything. So what do I have to show for it?
And then also, to make it worse, Chelsea go ahead and win a huge trophy. Maybe the FA Cup, maybe the Champions League. It's going to make it super, super difficult for them. So I think we've really gone for a long time, and even Mehdi wants to go. So I think it's been a good result for us today. So Mehdi, Mehdi, can we get your final remarks?
Yeah, it's been a good result. Everyone from front to back deserves praise today. Garnacho is a bit unlucky, so it's just important that we take it one game at a time, carry that momentum into leads, and that's how we should be focusing. Not if you're title contenders on for this, just take it one game at a time and build on what you can learn from and what you've earned. What happened to Christian?
Oh, Christian.
Oh, he fell out by accident.
Oh, okay. uh, yeah. Okay, make the yeah, I think that's all I have to say on my end. 1 hour 45 minutes. I don't usually like to stretch it more because I do think that other people will also watch the live stream after, and the longer you make it, the more difficult it is. So I will end it, but I wanted Christian to be here. There's something I wanted to ask Christian, but seems to be out. Don't think if he's going to come back. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us today in this live stream. Let me end it.